What's up guys, Ace here with another day of Zendikar Rising spoilers. I'm sorry if I'm a little tired sounding and just got up. Anyways, let's just jump into the day with some new MTG spoilers. So first card we have is Squad Commander, which is 3 and a white creature core warrior. When Squad Commander enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token for each creature in your party. At the end of combat in your turn, if you have a full party, creature control gets +0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. 3/3. Honestly, it could have gotten +1 +1, right? Like that would have been a big difference. But this creature seems kind of lackluster, even in the standard environment where you want like an aggro based deck. Like it comes down for 4 mana. Presumably you'd think you'd get like 4 power and 4 toughness worth of it. But like if they blow this up and you have nothing else on your board besides this, like you top deck this and there's only a creature on your board, when you cast it and you finish casting it, it just grabs you a 1/1 if they don't destroy it on its ETB. Like, it's kind of mediocre even for an aggro-based deck. I could be wrong. Like, if parties are really strong, this is 3 power and could net you 4 more creatures. So it's like 4 mana for 7 power, which would be kind of good. And that's not even including the creatures in your party. So, like, the ceiling is it's low. And if party's a thing, and like it's easy to get, then this could be C play because how much board pressure it gains. However, the problem with this is it doesn't grant indestructible until your next turn, so like it's gonna die to board wipes, right? It's at the 4 mana slot. 4 mana is probably the spot where you get hit by board wipes a lot, so it's gonna be kind of rough thing with this card. I don't think it'll see too much play, if any, internet at all. Even if there's a party mechanic, even if the party mechanic works out as imagined, I still don't think it'll get there. I could be wrong. It's a core. It's in your core tribal standard decks if that's a thing. I doubt it is, but if it's a thing, it'll fit right in there, right snugly in there. Because I don't think there's any other like rare core legendaries. I could be wrong. I totally forget. Besides Nahiri, oh, there's one more. The one in Nahiri's trailer. I forgot her name is Akira or something like that. Anyway, Akira. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Next, I don't think this will be played in. Obviously, I don't think this will be played in like Eternal formats either. So. Next up, we have Inversion, 6 white sorcery DFC with destroy all non-land permanents. The other side of it is the Ondu Sky Ruins, enters the battlefield tapped, and it taps to add 1 white. This is a card I can get behind. I think it'll be like a 1-of in control decks in standard, especially because I think for the most part they can afford to have a tapped land, which is decent like this. I mean, worst case scenario, this is like the red button. Like something happens, like you're playing against a mid-range deck that's a bunch of like non-creature permanents, stuff like that, and you want to blow them all up. This is the red button. Like you want to top deck this land badly. And with that being said, it is 8 mana, so I don't think a mid-range deck wants to play this. I think it's only fit for a control deck or a deck that can really ramp lands that matter. So like maybe a Selesnya control deck, if that's a thing. I don't even think that's a thing, but if that's a thing, like. Because like it won't affect you, but pretty much be asymmetrical because you don't care about what creature is being destroyed because you're just ramping your lands the whole time until you get to this. I think this is a decent card. It'll probably be a 1 or 2 of in control decks in standard. Probably won't see Eternal format play because it's such a high CMC. It's literally 8 CMC. That's crazy. Like at 8 CMC, I'm sort of expecting, like even for 1 more CMC, I'd be down for like a one-sided Wrath in white. I don't think white can get that, but like. That's a lot of mana. That's like Planar Cleansing doesn't even see any play. Hour of Revelation is like one of the only, if not only, board wipe that does fit this sort of slot in EDH for that matter. So this is interesting. It's a very interesting card. I don't know if the price and the benefit of having a land will necessarily slot in for planes and white decks, but I'll be very glad to try it. Definitely glad to try it. Like I said, like late game, would you rather draw a land or would you draw a board wipe, right? Like if you're playing mono white, you're probably behind. So like this is always netting you cards technically because everyone else is filling their hand unless they're drawing a lot of cards. And you're just ruined either way. Either way. So let's go to our next card. We have Maddening Cacophony, which is 1 in a blue sorcery with kicker 3 blue. Each opponent mills 8 cards. If the spell is kicked, instead each opponent mills half their library rounded up. I think this card is a staple for any Brewback deck. This is just a good Brewback card. Like it's just good. It's win the game with Brewback out. However, Brewback's out, it's just kind of like eh. I mean, of course, if they have Eldrazi, I'm wondering if they will ever print Eldrazi because of this. Because like, if they have Eldrazi, they're never going to end up losing the game from this because it just triggers the Eldrazi. Unless they have some sort of card draw for everyone that can draw like a Temple Bell or something when they milled everyone after this. Like, this is a good card to brew back. I'm actually kind of curious if this like makes Burback any notably stronger besides like having another win con that's not like a slow mill win con. Like, is it up there in a Burback deck with something like Dramatic Reversal? Like, I don't think there's a particularly competitive Burback deck, but in high powered Burback decks, does this really make the cut over other win cons? I think it does. Like, if you have a lot of mana, like a High Tide maybe, this is just win the game potentially. Like, of course, you're gonna knock like one or two out because some people do run Eldrazi in their CDH decks or high power decks. So I think this is a strong card. Even in standard, like mill 8 for 2 blue, like you don't do anything to the board, so like you're getting hit on turn 2 for something big. Like my Barkhide Troll is gonna love getting in there if you cast this on turn 3 or turn 2. I mean, 8 cards is still a lot. Like, if you have at most 4 of these, so that's a third of your deck. If you cast all those in a game. But the one thing that does talk about this is, if you do end up using the mill half your deck part in a later game, it might not even be worth it because they might have like 4 cards in their deck and you mill half their deck for like for like 6 mana. It's like they just mill 2 cards compared to 8. I mean, obviously that's like a crazy scenario, but you can see like the return on investment in this card kind of has a point, which is interesting. I think this is like a decent card though for a Brewback deck or any mill deck really. Even Fenix, like this is probably pretty decent Fenix too. This is like one of those win cons. If the earlier you cast this, the better. Which is saying much really, because they're gonna pay 6 mana to essentially do nothing in the early parts of the game, which kind of matter. So it's like it's hard to evaluate this card, I think, especially in like mill based strategies. I think this is a strong standard card. I'm not quite sure if we'll see Eternal mill play, but that'd be interesting to see. Like, would you play this with the Hedron Crab or any of those cards? For 2 mana too? Hedron Crab mills like 6 for 2 lands? Is this worth 2 lands? I mean, you're never kicking it for its kicker cost in Eternal format, so I don't know. You play this with Brewback. I think you play this in every EDH mill deck. Whatever power level that might be. I think this is gonna be a strong standard mill card. I think this is like a decent card. I really like this card the more I think about it. The more I think about it, I really do like it. Which will be interesting. Definitely be interesting. But yeah, let's go to the next card. Next up we have Inscription of Insight. It's 3 and a blue sorcery with kicker 2 blue. Choose one. If the spell is kicked, choose a number instead. Return up to 2 creatures to their owner's hand. Scry 2, then draw 2 cards. Target player creates XX blue illusion creature token, where X is the number of cards in their hand. Ah, this card is so close to being good. I feel like that's the name of the game. Like, literally, there are cards that are good if they're instant speed, but maybe it's just like too strong if it was instant speed, right? Because this is return up to 2 creatures, so it's essentially removing 2 creatures from the battlefield. You're drawing 2 cards, so not only does it replace itself, it draws you a card, and it creates a board presence for you. Like, this is everything you want in like a control deck if it was instant speed. If like tapping out means you can't run your counter spells, like your counter spells don't do anything, so it's gonna be rough in that sense. But like, oh, this is so close to being really good. Like, I guess they could have changed something. If they made it 1 creature, up to 1 creature, and you draw 1 card, and then it's not like even good at being mobile, right? Then it's just like 1 spell that you put at like 5 mana or something. I don't know. It's like so good. The modals, I love these modal spells. You can never tell if they're like gonna be. It's so hard to evaluate. But if only this was instant speed, this would be an all-star. Honestly, I would even debate it being played in Modern if this was instant speed. Like 4 mana draw 2 is already a thing. And Memoria of Genius, it was like that weird Kaladesh card. Like the Scry 2 and draw 2 is really good for 4 mana. It's seen play as instant speed already, but like this would be strictly better and be printed in standard. That'd be kind of crazy though. Think about that. Like that was a card that was being played, and this would be strictly better. Like by a lot too. This is such a it's so close, boys. It's so close. I'm kind of glad though that they lowering the power level of blue cards a lot. This is something I enjoy personally. Um, I don't think we're necessarily see anything too strong from green either. This rotation, this set either. So it's just kind of cool. I mean, there's some strong cards, but like not everything is overly powerful in those Simic colors, which is nice. All right, so next up we have Skyclave Relic, which is a 3 mana artifact with kicker 3, indestructible. When Skyclave Relic enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create two tapped tokens that are copies of Skyclave Relic, and a tapped add 1 mana of any color. This is, I think, strictly better Darksteel Ingot, which is fine. I think there would have been, before they strictly made a better one of these, I feel like they would have made a Darksteel Ingot with like a smaller benefit than this, like scry one once it enters the battlefield, right? But this is welcomed. Like this is probably a staple, right? For 6 mana, you get 3 more mana of indestructible like sky relics that can be used for like artifact fodder, sack fodder for anything. I don't know if that's like a really good strategy, but like 6 mana for like for mostly because people mostly play battlecruiser to high power. Like mid power is like the top part of the spectrum where like most people play mid power. I believe that's how it is. I could be wrong on this. And so this is probably being played mid power. So I think this becomes a staple at that point because it's in the curve. This is one of those mid power cards, which is cool. Which is definitely cool. Yeah, this card is sweet. I personally wouldn't play it in my decks because I don't have a deck that really wants to do something that late. But this is a sweet card. Like if it was 2 mana indestructible, like it'd probably be really good. It'd probably be like an Arcane Signet at that point. Better than Arcane Signet. Because it's any color. Cards that you want to be pushed but like be broken if you pushed them. Anyways, let's go to this is a good card. I think this will see I don't think you'll see play in standard or other eternal formats besides EDH. And when it does see play in EDH, I think it'll be a probably like battlecruiser to mid power. That's probably where this is going, which is kind of interesting. But yeah. Next up, we have Lithoform Engine. Yes, 4 generic legendary artifact with 2 mana, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for a copy. 3 mana, copy target instant sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. 4 mana, copy target permanent spell you control. This is a nice card. I have one little thing with it though. The fact that it's named Lithoform Engine and Lithomancy is a white based ability and it's just generic. It's like, I think they could have made it like 2 generic and a white and had it been okay. Like this could have still worked probably and would have been overpowered because it's like instead of colorless, it's like white now and you have to play white to play it. This is a good card. Like there's a lot you can do with this. I mean, you can only copy things you control. But like because it's generic, it can be played in any deck. So I can see there's going to be a lot of different things you could do with this. Like you can go infinite with this and Stranic Resonator probably. No, Stranic Resonator. I forgot what Stranic Resonator says. I think it's triggered, right? Stranic Resonator. Targets a triggered ability. Okay. So, there's no way to like break this, is there? There's definitely a way to break this. The one thing I did notice too, it says copy target permanent spell, so you can't just copy stuff that's on the battlefield. It has to be on the stack. Like everything this copies has to be on the stack. I'm kind of sad it says copy target instant sorcery you control too. Like imagine it saying copy target instant sorcery spell for 3 mana. Oh, essentially it's 7 mana investment total to copy your first one. But like that means you could use this as like a counter spell engine. That'd be neat. Yeah, this is a neat card. I really do think this is like an EDH staple. Lithoform Engine. I don't know how you'd break it, but I'm pretty sure you can break this, right? Like you play this. Let's see, who has some strong like Brago? In Brago, this breaks it. Brago breaks it because like you play this in Brago. So Brago attacks. It's a triggered ability. Pay 2 to copy it. Let the first copy resolve. This untaps. You just keep tapping it. So this goes infinite with Brago, right? I think it does. Yeah, this is another infinite piece of Brago, which is cool. Even if it was white, I guess Brago would still run it. Yeah, this is strong in Brago. Stuff like that can like go infinite with like trigger activate abilities. That's cool. That's neat. Or copy target permanent spell. You know what we can do? Copy target permanent spell. Isn't there that one card? Hedron alignment or something? Where like you can just copy your Hedron alignment. You have 4 of them, right? In your upkeep, you may reveal your hand. If you do, win a card. If you own a card named Hedron alignment in exile in your hand and on the graveyard and on the battlefield. Oh, you can't actually. No, that wouldn't work. That would not work in blue base. Like I was thinking, like maybe an EDH, but no, unfortunately not. This is a good card. Good card, but I don't know where to put it. Don't know where to put it, boys. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. I think this would be good in a lot of decks. I just can't put my hand on it right now. All right, next up we have Akiri Fearless Voyager, 1 red and a white legendary creature core warrior. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. 1 white activation, you may unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until the turn. 3/3. I think this is a pretty good Boros color, or Boros commander. I'm sorry. The fact that it gives your creatures indestructible, so like it stops board wipes, and it draws cards for 1 white. All I'll ask you is keep a few white opens. That way you don't get your commander doesn't die. Ooh, that is a strong card. Like it dies to Toxic Deluge, but like if you're running this in mid power or even low power, like this is strong. I don't know how strong of a like. If they're only lower CMC living weapon creatures, this would be like kind of like super strong, right? Like as it is right now, it's probably gonna be mostly. I'm pretty sure I can see it in high power, but like it'll be mostly like Battlecruiser to high power, which is fine. Like this is a strong Boros commander that doesn't really rely on spells, and it can like break through the whole board wipe scenario where usually aggro decks struggle with board wipes because it's like that person plays 1 spell and destroys their whole board, the aggro player's board, and they can't really recover because they just dump their hand on the board, a la Winota. But with this, it's like, oh, just give your stuff indestructible. And people mostly play creature board wipes, right? Like there's not too many Hour of Revelation or Planar Cleansing sort of effects. It's mostly just destroy creatures, right? And so with this, it's like you just reattach your 0 cost equipment or something like that, which I think what makes this kind of strong. For 1 mana, you can save 1 creature with this. Also, the fact that you can draw 3 cards per turn with this sort of card, because it says whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. One of the things that does suck is I think it'll require you to run a few crappy equipment, because I think you want to play your 0 cost equipment with this, or equipment that automatically attaches to things. And so this means you have to reattach those equipment if you do protect it. But I mean, is it worth it after a board wipe? I think so. Like you're protecting your investment. I think this is a cool card. I really do like this sort of effect in a card. It's really sweet. Really sweet. Like this is one of those strong Boros cards that will probably be like the 3rd most played Boros card. Probably the 1st if it wasn't for like Feather and Winota. Like I think Feather and Winota are still more. I think Winota is definitely more explosive. I think Feather is definitely more, let's say, linear. But like this is still really strong. Like this will probably be more fun than both of those. I could be wrong. Winota might be a little more funner than this, but funner if that's a word. But this is still a strong card. This is pretty dope. Pretty dope of a card. You have to say so myself. All right. So next up we have Forsaken Monument. 5 generic legendary artifact. Colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever you tap a permanent for generic, add an additional generic. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. We shall forever roam. Oh my gosh. Just the whole flavor of this card just rings Eldrazi. That's like a statue. I guess the corpse, if you could say corpse, because Eldrazi are essentially just entities, but we only saw the manifestation of an entity in Zendikar. But seeing this corpse of Ulamog is just so like, what happened here? It's like very stoic. I like it. I like it. I mean, is this worth playing in a colorless deck? 5 mana, you get double mana. 5 mana to double your mana. That's probably worth it in a colorless deck. Gaining 2 life and having your colorless creatures get stronger. I think the best part is the additional mana. Then secondly, it's probably the additional life. So like your mana rocks catch you back up to a lot of life because you got to go up to these colorless decks. So they will run away with the game because they're just so strong. I don't think the +2/+2 really matters. Like this card will probably say play even if it didn't say that. Yeah, this is a cool card for Eldrazi decks. It's really, I don't have much to say about it. Like it's probably not going to see play in standard. Like all these cards probably won't see play in standard, but like they're really strong EDH cards. Really strong EDH cards. Well, let's go to the next card. Next up we have Nahiri's Lithoforming. X red sorcery. Sacrifice X lands. For each land sacrificed this way, draw a card. You may play an additional X additional lands this turn. Lands you control enter the battlefield tapped this turn. This is a neat card. Like, this is one of those cards that could like give red ramp if the land that entered the battlefield was a dual mana producing 2 mana producing lands, right? Like Ancient Tombs or like even the bounce lands. Like this helps those bounce lands become just like better, right? Because you get X additional land drops. Ooh, this is like you play, like you have a land in play already. You play a bounce land, bounce that land back. Like you played one land, right? But then you play that land, you bounce back. Because you can use your land drop for the current turn, and then you can use your additional land drops for the turns. Oh, this is good. Like worst case, you just sacrifice some lands and draw some cards. Like you sack 4 lands. Draw 4 cards off of 6 mana. It's a high price, but like if you draw more lands, you can play them tapped. Ooh, this is some serious card here. This is one of those like extreme red card filterings. I like it. I like it. And the best thing is it's not an additional cost to sacrifice these lands. That's where it would suck a lot if it was an additional cost. This is a sweet card. Sweet card. I don't know how to evaluate this. Like you probably play this in like your Omnaths or decks that really want landfall. This is a good landfall card. I didn't think red would get too much landfall, to be honest. Like this would be one of those, like obviously the card beside it, but like this would be one of those crazy landfall cards. Like when it hits. This with the new I forgot Minotaur Commander. This just gives you a lot of combats. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of nutty. That's kind of nutty. Like you probably play this in standard if there's a landfall deck. You probably play this in EDH in your landfall decks. That is like, I think most landfall decks do fall between like mid power, where it's like high or low high power to battle cruiser. Like this is probably where you want to be. This is a decent. I like this card. I like the idea of this card. I'm not sure how well it works in practice though. They do enter tap, so it's not like you can ramp off of this or something, or get any extra additional value out of it because they enter tapped. But this is a cool card. This is definitely one of those more interesting cards. All right. Next up, we have Wayward Guide Beast. 1 red, trample, haste. Oh geez, what's happening here? Whenever Wayward Guide Beast deals combat damage to a player, return a land you control to its owner's hand. 2/2. So obviously, this reminds you of the one and only Goblin Guide. I think that's actually the one and only Goblin Guide in the back there, right? He's like running away with his guide. Is that what I think it is? No. Or is that just like a mount that's running away? I don't really know. Does he have something in his hand? I think he's running after it. I think that's the Goblin's Guide. Right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. This is a decent card, I think. Helps you trigger landfall at the cost of being aggressive and it's deal combat damage. Is this good in an aggressive landfall deck? I don't know. You have to make way for it. Otherwise it just dies. Unless you can like pump it up a lot. Yeah, turn 1 it's gonna suck because that means you can't play anything else. Unless you have like crazy landfall deck or have a way to put natural land on the battlefield, that can be kind of weird. But like this really needs landfall to be a thing in your deck. Which isn't bad. It really requires it though. Otherwise you're stuck on 1 mana the whole time. Like turn 2, maybe I think this goes in an aggressive deck though, where you don't really care about your lands and you can use your cards in hand as like fodder for something else. The new Magmatic Channeler. Take this late game, and if it hits and it swings and it hits, you can bring a land back and trade it off for a different card. That's kind of cool. Tap your mana in response to this ability. You get 2 mana. Actually, wait a minute. The fact that it has haste kind of sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck, but like, it's not really incentivized. It's a 2 mana 2/2, right? Because you want to play this turn 1. You don't want to swing unless you really want to bounce your land back. Like turn 2, you tap your mana for red responsibility, and then you put that land back and you have 2 mana turn 2. As if you didn't attack with this card. So it's so weird to evaluate. Like this might see modern play because it's so much similar to Goblin Guide. But it's so much like, if you're not playing like a bunch of 1-drops in your deck, it slows your deck down a lot for 2 damage. Like I think you want to play 1-drop tribal if you're playing this card. 1-drop tribal. It's such a weird card to evaluate. I don't know about this card, boys. I don't know. Tell me what you think about this in the comments down below, because I don't know. But I do think we're going to finish there. I think we went over all the cards we wanted to see. So without further ado, thanks for watching my video, boys. Thanks for checking everything out. Super excited for this new standard. Super excited to see what the other Inscriptions of Insight look like. And especially the red. We haven't seen a red one. I think the red one's been actually completely crunched out, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. Peace out, guys, and have a nice one.